What's up? What's up? It's your girl Michelle with the Raindrop Combos. And
Stacy, what's going on, guys?
what's up, Chickadee? What are we talking
What's
about
going on,
tonight?
girl?
Nothing, man. It's Sunday. It's the Sunday night chill out, hook up with your homegirl, therapy session, and just getting ourselves ready for a new week. So what are we talking about, girl?
So tonight we're going to talk about forgiveness and why we're having such a problem with forgiveness.
Right. All right. So forgiveness. So you say we're talking about forgiveness, man. Yeah. That's a tough topic for some.
For a lot.
Yeah, I think it is the majority of people.
Yeah.
Because you always have to forgive. It's always something that you have to forgive. And so
I mean, that's what you can't go through life like getting mad at everybody and not displaying some type of forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know, like not everything is forgivable. I mean,
but it's supposed to be, though, right? In order, when you, based on biblical principles, when you don't forgive, you're actually holding something in you that is creating negative energy. And so whether biblical or even just the universal law, it's just holding something in, harboring. Harboring means to hold in.
Right.
And so whenever something triggers you or you see that person that offended you, that you're holding that unforgiveness towards, it you know what I mean? It throws off your energy.
It does. Because you're right. It is a negative energy.
Right.
It is. And so, but there are things that people do that, okay. So let me ask you this. Can you forgive and still not deal with somebody anymore? Like,
oh yeah.
If you forgive someone, does that mean you have to? Okay.
No. So no, definitely. Because the thing is, even if you can't go directly to that person and say, hey, I forgive you for how you offended me. Even if you can't, and even if they offended you in a way that made them toxic to your life, then yeah, hey, even if I can't call you or you're not willing to even accept my apology, I'm going to forgive you in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, and then I'm going to keep on with my life, because what I'm not going to do is give you the opportunity to hurt me and offend me again. So
I mean, but when you forgive people, like, is that something that you're like, it kind of calls for you to be vulnerable. And as we talked about, that's kind of, being open to whatever happens, knowing that, yeah, this person may hurt me again. I'm just saying, that's why I'm saying, are there things that are not forgivable? Is there some type of line of demarcation that says, okay, things that fall in this category, I'm going to forgive, but I'm walking away. I'm not dealing with you no more. Or are there things that, yeah, I forgive you and I can move forward with you? Are there two different categories?
I think so. I think that, yes, there are going to be situations where, and I mean, I think it really relates when it comes to family, because you can't really get away from family. I mean, even when you say,
you can't.
Well, you can decide that I forgive you and I'm never gonna
totally process
right
the whole forgiveness thing.
You can forgive a family member and never have anything to do with them. Chances are there may be a chance that you're going to run into them again.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. But I think when it comes to like certain people in your life that have done things that are unforgivable, that you decide, you know what, I forgive you, I'm done, but we can't be in relationship anymore, then, I think it's easier to be able to walk away from those things and not really hold on to it, because I don't want to see, a picture of somebody or have a memory that still creates a lot of
negative energy.
Yeah. So no, I think it's possible. But I think there are scenarios where there are certain people you can forgive that you still have to be in relationship, or even in, you're always connected with them.
So you don't think you can ever like just not deal with family? I mean,
no, I think you can. You can, and it's a choice. But the thing is, as long as you're doing it in a way where you're not doing it in an unforgiveness type way, we're like, oh, she gonna be at the family reunion, I'm not gonna be there. That's like, I don't forgive
but
you.
That's how it happens. Yeah. That's how most of our, arguments in families or, challenges, issues, whatever. That's how it is. Right. It's like, oh, so-and-so gonna be there. I ain't coming. That's why we always ask who coming to the cookout. Exactly. Because if certain people, you like, nah, I'm not even ready to deal with that energy today. Yeah. So, I mean,
have you truly forgiven? Because the thing is,
that's a good question.
The thing is, because like I said, if the girls in the family, the cousins fall out and all that, and then to me, sometimes going to the cookout, even though that cousin's going to be there, and showing them just how much you are over it is, that's almost a bigger statement than you not showing up. Oh, she didn't show up. Mm-hmm. So it just, like I said, I just think
when you like your peace, it's okay to do that if you know that this person knows how to go to their corner. Yeah. And they know how to not mess with you, and you know how to not mess with them, even if we're in the same, vicinity. Right. But when you know that, the other person may be an agitator, it's like, I ain't even ready to deal with that, because now I'm in a place where I can't just shut my phone off or turn my phone off. I can't, I'm not in my own space where I don't have to have some type of interaction. Right. That don't feel good.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that.
That don't feel good.
I feel you on that.
I mean, I don't know. I just realized recently, okay, you may not really understand forgiveness that well. I thought I understood. I
don't think any of us really.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you, I follow Joyce Myers a lot, and she said something really funny. She was like, when she was raising her kids, she was like, she loved all her kids, but she didn't like all of them. And she was like, she had a son that used to give her.
I can understand that.
Right. And she said
certain things they do.
Yeah. Right. And she said she had a son that really gave her a hard time, and she said that she prayed about it, and she realized that she was harboring unforgiveness in her heart towards him because he was not,
the perfect child.
And she really had to go and humble herself, and she had actually went and apologized to her son because she thinks that it impacted kind of the way she treated him. And she was just like, you know what, forget it. You're just, you'll always be the way you are. So
I love her. She's levels. So honest.
She is.
Yeah, honest. She is so honest.
And so I think it's so many levels to forgiveness, and like I was saying, and when you text me the topic, I really got a little cringy about it, because I was like, man, I started thinking on the deep level of people that I have a little bit of unforgiveness towards, and I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but I think we all can think about somebody that has offended us, and we might say, yeah, I'm over it, yeah, whatever. But if you see them and something's triggered, you haven't forgiven. You haven't really quite released it.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you can have unforgiveness towards the cashier at the grocery store because the last thing she did to you. Oh, she better not, So
and next time you say, I ain't going to her house.
Exactly. Oh, she here today.
Now you avoiding the cashier at the grocery store. Like, come on.
So these are levels of unforgiveness. And while some might think that, oh, well, that's not a big deal. I mean, but on certain levels, it's just being able to learn how to just let stuff go. And it's not easy.
The thing. Yeah. Being able to just kind of let it go, But also, again, maintaining your boundaries. I think that boundaries are important. People have to know that they can't treat you in a certain manner.
Right.
And so sometimes when you start to create your boundaries with people, and that could be with anybody, there's some friction. Because people don't like boundaries,
especially not your own. They love their own boundaries,
right?
They're not going to like your boundaries.
Right. And especially when they want to go right over the edge of that boundary, and it's like, no, this is the boundary. You got to respect it.
Right.
And so when you start to enforce that, and people are like, I'm going to put on, put on you what I want to put. No, I don't want to do that. And so, for me, there are some things that I'm learning. Okay, you had a problem with forgiveness. Now that's because I'm a detacher.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right.
Easily.
I was one of them ones that was like, you know what? I don't FW you no more.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
And I can keep moving.
Right.
And I mistook that for forgiveness.
Right.
I thought that cutting people off and moving on was forgiveness.
Right.
And I didn't realize until recently, and I hate to say that, at this age, but I didn't realize so recently, like, no, because you still harboring some type of resentment. Like you haven't forgiven fully.
Right.
Yeah, you may have cut them out your life. They may not have access to you, but you haven't forgiven.
Right.
And what is that causing internally? When you're holding on to all of that negativity and like, what is it causing? And we talked about disease
right.
and disease, and we have such a high rate of heart disease and high cholesterol and all of these things, heart attacks, strokes, all of these things that the Black community is known for,
right,
these bad things.
Right.
And why? Because we have all this stress,
yeah,
stress on our job, stress in our family, dealing with all of this unforgiveness for whatever offended you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Whoever. We have to learn how to not be so offended, but we also need to learn how to not offend.
Right.
I don't know.
No, and I feel you on that. And I think everybody needs to understand, which it took me some time also to understand, is that offense, unforgiveness comes in a lot of different forms. It can come in the form of jealousy. You can be offended that somebody has something that you don't have. And you're actually, you have unforgiveness against somebody for something that they have that you think that you deserve. And so jealousy is a form of offense that leads to unforgiveness. Now, whether you're offended with God or offended with the person who blessed them with that, or offended with how their work ethic, some of that stuff is really internal. And so it can get
a lot of it.
Yeah, it can get a bit complicated when you don't know who you are. So I think to not overcomplicate it, we just need to understand what is it and what do we need to do to keep ourselves free so that we can achieve what we're trying to achieve. Right. I think there's a lot of jealousy,
stop focusing on other people,
and unforgiveness in our community. At least, I mean, if you look at, why does a guy go and rob and kill somebody for their shoes, their car, their money?
Trivial materialistic stuff.
It's jealousy. It's offense that you have something that I don't
feel like
have.
I deserve.
Right. So I think this thing goes really deep, and people don't really think about that. So it's a pretty deep topic. But in order to not make it something that is so hard to do, we just need to learn how to focus on I think gratefulness can maybe balance out unforgiveness, where how can you be if you're grateful for what you have, even if you're just in your own space and you do decide to say, okay, I don't want to have anything to do with you, but I'm just gonna be grateful for what I'm not gonna sit here and stew and be like, oh, I'm not going there, she gonna be there, I'm not going there, she gonna be there. No, I'm gonna keep my distance, but in my own space I'm gonna keep working on what I'm trying to achieve, and I'm gonna be grateful for what I do have. Maybe I don't have that relationship anymore, and maybe it may take some time for me to get to a better place, but I think gratefulness can kind of balance that out. And so
and a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck in what the world has done to them. They get stuck in, I've been treated so badly by the world, and I didn't deserve it, and I ain't forgiving nobody. I'm just gonna continue through life being mean and feeling like the world owes me something. Here's the thing: you ain't never gonna get it.
That's what I'm saying. And good luck with that. And good luck with that.
Right?
It's very immature, because I felt like I was slighted in my childhood. I felt like there were certain things that I should have had that was not provided for me. And yes, I was a very angry little girl for a long time, and until what changed. And I'm not saying that I don't still fall into that. I'm not perfect, but what changed is when I started to get experience with things that I didn't ever have before, that I was able to actually. So I mean, I'm telling you, you got to have something in you, whether, like I say, whether you're a Christian or whatever you are, it's something to say, you know what? Yeah, I did miss out on this in my childhood, but guess what? I got a chance to experience it. And I was talking to Melissa today about when I was in elementary school, and the fifth grade students, our fifth grade band went to Orlando, Florida, and my mom couldn't afford to send me. And it was so heartbreaking, Stacey, because even the bus, the bus was at the school. The band teacher called our house. They were holding the bus for me. They were like, if she's got the money, we're gonna, we'll let her on and we'll go. And then when the kids got back the next week, they were like, Michelle, we're waiting on you. And girl, Oh, girl, it was so heartbreaking. But guess what? When I got to high school, we went to on that same trip to Orlando, Florida. I've been to New York, and I have been so many places. So
Puerto Rico.
what was stolen from me, the bitterness that I harbored, it was restored in a different way.
That's what God does.
Exactly. So you're not doing yourself a favor when you hold that in. But guess what?
Because you're not open to the blessings that God has in store.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you're still holding on to the resentment and the anger from what you thought you missed out on.
Exactly.
Let God bless you. Let that go.
Right.
Let that go.
And the people that you're mad with are enjoying their lives. They don't even know you're mad or really care either. So do yourself a favor and forgive, man. It's not easy because you will get offended every day. I'm telling you, you'll have probably about 100 times a day to get offended. Your
kids,
you gotta
talk yourself out of it.
That's what I'm saying. Your kids will offend you, your husband, your spouse, your boss, the cashier at the restaurant, the person on the phone in customer service. You will have 100 times a day.
Your boss, or I hate the word boss.
Right.
Your manager or supervisor. I hate the word boss.
Right. Yeah, they need to just wipe that out of the vocabulary.
But yeah, I mean, there are a million times a day that we have the opportunity to be offended.
Right.
And it takes a special type of strength to be like, I'm not even gonna let it get to me.
It's not easy. I'm not sitting here saying that it's easy.
No, it's not easy. Right. It's very hard. And I am now.
Are we having? Oh, okay.
I definitely, there are times, most of the times I won't, like you offend me, I ain't coming with no smoke. But there are some times that you gotta really push me though. Right. Like, and it's gotta be like multiple times, for me to respond with that smoke.
Right.
But please understand. I will.
Right.
I got it.
Right. I feel you.
So you have to, there's a thought process that you have to go through. And you have to really, that phone is getting on my nerves.
Is that your phone?
Yes. And it's like, what?
Hey, it doesn't that happen on the lives when you.
Oh my God. But you really have to make a decision in those moments.
Yeah.
You have to decide, is this really worth my energy or my time to respond to? Right. And I'm going to be honest, I don't always make the right choice.
Right. I hear you.
I don't always make the right choice.
I don't either.
And I don't think any of us do.
Right.
I think
if you're watching, drop in the comments, what do you think about this topic? How do you forgive? What do you think about forgiveness? What do you think about the people that go to court after, they have to face the person that may have killed their loved one? Ooh. And they say, you know what, we forgive you. Yes. Because that's what that girl, I'm talking about, people went off with the Dylan Roof thing. That was the guy that went into the church. I remember that. And killed the black people.
And the families were forgiving.
And people were just like, how could you forgive?
Yeah.
And I know it was not easy, but they were doing what the Bible told them to. But a lot of people told them, you're crazy, you're nuts, I would never forgive him. And how do y'all tell me what y'all think?
I don't know
I know
that would be a tough one. I mean, and especially so soon.
Yeah, I mean, they were literally right. I'm saying to show up at the courtroom forgiving already. I was like,
and the court hasn't even done their,
and
due
no
process.
conviction, and then and the media didn't help it when they said they took this dude to Burger King after. People were just like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" It really is, and we're not gonna go there because I don't want to get anybody like really riled up. But that did not help the situation. But I just heard a lot of people saying, how could y'all forgive this guy for what he did? But the thing is,
that's a whole nother level.
And
that's a whole nother dimension.
It is
thinking and to be able to forgive that easily.
But what about somebody who made a mistake? People have died in car accidents. They have, children have been hit by cars accidentally. And so
now in those cases, I can definitely.
You think that's easier to forgive?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I mean, I think you're mad as hell. Right. I think that, you don't. Okay. What's our comment?
Forgiveness is only path to peace. When we choose not to forgive, we have only ourselves to hold to account for our suffering.
Who was that?
That's Glenn. Thank you, brother. Love that comment.
Yes.
You're right, man. It is the only path. And it's not an easy one. It's definitely not an easy one.
It's extremely hard.
It's
extremely difficult to, and like you said, yes, it's easier for me to forgive if you made a mistake. Like if I
Right.
got hurt by default for something you did, then it's like, okay,
right.
I get it. That can happen.
But the intentional,
yeah. Or the, patternistic
Mhm.
behavior where you are continuing
Right.
to hurt somebody.
Right.
And it's like, do you even understand,
Right.
like what you're doing?
Right.
So I think that's harder to forgive.
Yeah.
When someone is intentionally doing something, it's harder for me. I just recently, I don't know. Like, I hate to say this because it sounds kind of crazy, but I think I just recently learned how to forgive.
And I mean,
like real time,
right,
real talk,
right,
real talk, real time.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there was a family member and we had a chance to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to put on the table how I felt about their behavior, and they were able to kind of just explain their point. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I get it. Because none of us are perfect.
Right.
Like, nothing comes with a manual. You know, sisterhood doesn't come with a manual. Parenthood doesn't come with a manual. Like, none of it comes with a manual.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I get it. It wasn't about me. Like, you didn't mean to do that.
Right.
You were in your own whatever.
Yeah.
We good.
Right.
And that was the first time that I was like, oh, wait a minute. I really don't have any negative emotions anymore attached to this particular situation.
Right.
It was freeing as hell.
Let me tell you something. It
was so freeing.
I was
like, I love this.
Right.
I love it here. You know, I love it here. I love it in forgiveness land.
Yeah. You said forgiveness land. Let me tell you something, but it is levels to this ish.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that because I remember my son when he was in like pre-K, maybe kindergarten or something. And then one of the teachers might have suggested, oh, we think you might want to have your son tested, for special ed. Now, mind you, my son is now 13 years old. He was tested for the gifted program, a little lazy, didn't make it to the program, but he definitely was not, didn't have any learning disabilities. But I was offended by the teacher even, you know what I mean? And so I don't know if it was me thinking, well, not one of my children, you know what I mean? So it's levels. The ego can cause a level of, you misinterpreting somebody maybe that is with your child 8-9 hours a day, noticing something and you saying, well, not my child. I'll just take them to a different school. Right. So it's levels.
And teachers deal with that all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure. But then there's a certain level of unforgiveness that I had for a while. I'm like,
especially when it comes to the baby.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what do you mean? What you mean something wrong with my son?
Yeah. So
I kind of had a side eye, for a little while, looking at her. But then now, like I say, to know now, okay, my son, he might have just been, going
through a transitional period.
Right. Yeah. But it's
you
levels.
wanted to label him.
Yeah. And it's levels to it. And so it's not to say that, and if there was an issue that had been identified that could have been corrected early on, then I probably would have actually been appreciative. So I think it's levels. And we just got to make sure that we are not misinterpreting things and taking them so personally.
That's the thing. We take
everything
personally. And it's like, I remember being at work. I used to work. And there was this lady who was, I guess she was the top, she was at the top. And people used to always complain like, oh my gosh, she never speaks to anybody. And I'm like, I hear you. But I also understand how it is I'm busy. Like every time I'm walking or looking, or it may look like I'm looking at you, I'm not looking at you. Like I'm literally, my mind is a million miles away. So to be honest, I don't even see you.
You're right.
And you're thinking that you're internalizing it as I am, being mean or I'm ignoring you.
Right.
Meanwhile, I don't even see you.
Right.
So we have to be careful about our perception of things and understand that our perception is not always reality.
And you're right.
Period.
And it probably has, like I said, a lot to do with certain insecurities. Because like you said, people get offended by things that were really not intentional or meant to offend you. Get out of your own head and just think. I think if we at least take 5 minutes, and sometimes even if you don't know, if you give yourself at least 5 minutes to try to think the best, even if what, you know what I mean, that can try to, you know, kind of calm you down, pull you back in so you can get back to what you had going on. Because if you stop for a minute and say, you know what, maybe she didn't, maybe that look she gave me wasn't a look of evil disgust. But I'm telling you, man, your mind will play tricks on you for real and be like,
that
what's she looking at? I remember all that kind of stuff at the club all the time. What? Oh, who's she looking at like that? She might have been thinking that you really look nice, and maybe that's just her facial expression.
Maybe she just has resting B face,
and she can't. That's what I'm saying. Some people really do have expressions. They can't do
I cannot, like, everything that I think. It's gonna come, especially if you know me,
right?
You like, yeah, I know exactly what.
But if they don't,
sometimes they do.
Yeah, right. Well,
I'm not good at pretending. So my facial.
It is right, exactly.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? My sister's like that a lot. She can't really pretend to enjoy something that is not really enjoyable. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, somebody's trying to explain something to her, and they maybe going on and on. She'll be like,
cut it off.
You know, her face is like.
Cut that off.
You know.
Okay.
Oh, got a new comment?
Yes.
Who's commenting?
Carlos, he said, we are made in the image of God, who is a forgiving God. Forgiveness and what we speak are two greatest powers.
Yes.
That's true.
We are definitely made in the image. And the thing is, you know, for those of us that
Carlos.
are, you're right. Appreciate that comment, Los. For those that are Christians, we are called to be in the image of God, which is forgiveness. I mean, he forgives us every day for stuff that even our bad thoughts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so don't make it
right. Yeah. So yeah, and it's not easy, and I think that you shouldn't beat yourself up if you're having a hard time with forgiveness. Just know that forgiveness is not for the person you're forgiving; it's really more for you.
And I mean, but let's talk about forgiving yourself too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because
hello,
a lot of it is we don't forgive ourselves for things.
Right.
You know,
so guilty.
Constantly beating ourselves up about what has happened.
Right.
That's happened.
Yeah.
It's a done deal.
But
you can move forward.
Right.
And you can move forward in a positive light. If you know what your mistakes were before, just don't repeat them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you have to give yourself the forgiveness for whatever consequences that you have to face due to those choices that you made. Like, forgive yourself.
Right.
Everything is a learning lesson. Everything. What's that song? Trinity. The young lady, she's one of, you know, the Gen Zers, millennials, but she's like, either love me or I'm a lesson, or what she say? Is that Sweetie or her or one of them? Either love me or I'm a lesson. Okay, it's one of the crazy songs that you listen to, her, Sweetie. But everything is a lesson. Like, it is what it is. Every experience that we have. So I think that when you can look at it like that and focus on the positive of everything you go through, even when people offend you, you learn something through that experience. Forgive. Take it as a lesson learned. Thank God for, you know, showing you and keep it moving.
Right.
Keep it moving. I mean, forgiveness, and we said that earlier, forgiveness doesn't mean that we still have an attachment or we still have, you know, communication. No, it means that I truly don't harbor any negativity in my heart for you.
I mean, I totally agree. And the thing is, I know that, you know, everybody probably is of multiple religions. You got Muslims, you got Christians, you got those that are just, you know, atheists that just believe, you know, it's me, find me. And so no matter what you are, you have to have some kind of sound doctrine, whether you do yoga that helps you to free your chakras and your, however, I don't know anything about all that.
Chakra balancing.
But I know for me as a Christian, I know that God wants us to forgive ourselves because he knows we cannot do anything else if we're always harboring guilt about the things we've done in the past. If you can't let the past go, there's no way you can move forward in the future. Right. So that's universal law. And so what people don't really understand is that the Bible is universal. Those laws apply to even an atheist. If you give, you will receive. You know what I mean? So those laws are universal. The only difference between that and Christianity is that, you know, in order to, you know, make it into heaven, you have to believe that Jesus Christ died for your sins. But at the end of the day, the laws are universal. It's about do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Forgive and you will be forgiven. What you sow is what you reap. So if you want friends, then you have to be friendly. If you want forgiveness, then you have to forgive. It's the yin, it's the yang, it's all of these different things. So people, it's funny how a lot of these religions do have basic universal,
they have basic
principles that are all the same. So that's all I'm saying. It's Sunday, man. Hey, let's start the new week off with forgiveness, and let's just think about going into this new week. And if it's something you're harboring against somebody, and I'm harboring a few things right now, so I'm gonna have to forgive some people this week. I'm actually gonna have to forgive them tonight before I go into my Monday, so that I don't bring any negative energy, because I got a lot going on. I got a lot to do.
It's a new month.
It's August.
The kids are going back to school.
Right. So yeah, we need to drop that, leave it, let it go, and let's move on and move forward. So
forgive yourself.
Yeah. Forgive yourself. Love yourself. You can't forgive yourself if you don't love yourself. Love yourself.
And you can't love anyone else.
And you haven't done anything
until you love yourself.
And you haven't done anything any worse than anybody else has done. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, we all have a past. Yes. We all have some things that we've done that we are ashamed of. I know I am. I know I got a lot. That's how you
constantly progress. Right. You progress. You make sure that every day you do a little bit better. You're a better person than you were yesterday.
That's it.
That's how you get to where you need to be.
Right. Yesterday is over. It's a done deal.
Yeah. And so let me just say, last week, Trinity was actually, when we were getting on her case and she wasn't giving us a comment, she was actually texting her dad back and forth. She forgot she was a producer and she put on her beehive hat because her dad had this rating system for Kelly and Beyonce. And so she put on her beehive hat and was going back and forth with her dad, not paying attention to her producer job.
So that's what it was.
Right. So when I look over and she's on the phone, I'm just like, what are you doing? Yeah. So she's back hired.
Back
we
on.
hire her again.
Back on.
But we just hope you guys go into this week again, like Michelle said, with a forgiving heart. Forgiving heart. Maintain your boundaries, because you have to, love on yourself too. But forgive those who have wronged you, those who intentionally did it, those who didn't, intentionally do it. Like, none of us are perfect. Right. We're all human. And as long as we're human, and as long as we are, there's breath in us and life in us, we're going to make mistakes. And so, we hope that people forgive us, just like we forgive them. That's it.
Well, this has been a good one, man. Brought to you by
Rep Your City.
Rep Your City GA. Don't forget to visit the website, www.repyourcityga.com. Love to have your support. They are supporting us. Yes. So we'd love for you to throw your support that way. If you're from the GA and you love your old vintage tees, this has been a good one.
Yeah.
I needed that. I needed this. I needed to air this out to start my week off. So always glad for always glad for those that jump in and join us. If you have any topic ideas, don't forget to email us at info@raindropconvos.com. Visit our website, raindropconvos.com. Don't ask me to spell it.
Not after that.
I know that's right. Thank you.
Wednesday,
Thank you.
With me not knowing the info.
After you put me, exactly. You've been putting me on blast for the last few episodes.
You talking about them tables turning. I was like,
never again. I was listening in the background.
Yes. Listen, when you're wrong, you're wrong.
Hey, admit when you're wrong and just keep it moving. Thank you.
Keep it moving. That does not make you any less special than you are.
Exactly. So it's all good, man. Join us next Sunday. Now, of course, we always do our Millennial Gen Z mashup. If you missed that, man, we had a really good episode last Wednesday. So that was nice. Check out the YouTube channel, or either check out our website if you missed that episode. It was pretty cool.
I enjoyed it. Got us motivated. They done told us about BBL. They schooled us on these e-commerce streets and these network marketing streets. We know it all now.
Check it out. Check it out. So this has been a good one, Chicken.
But we ain't getting no BBLs. So.
Not at all. Not at all.
Ain't no BBLs. All natural.
All right. Well, this has been your girl Michelle and your girl Michelle with the Raindrop Combos. And
Stacy. Thanks for listening, guys.
see you guys next time.